The 1988 winner of the Heisman Award is Barry Sanders of Oklahoma State University.
I thank God for putting me in this position. I couldn't have done it without him. And secondly, I'd like to thank my offensive line and my fullback, Garrett Limbrick. They've done such a great job. I couldn't have asked for a better season out of those guys. And, I'd like to thank William and Shirley Sanders for being so inspirational in my life and bringing me up the way they know I should be brought up. Thanks a lot.
Each day I live, I want to be a day to give.
In 1988, Oklahoma State's Barry Sanders put together a season which can only be described as incredible. His breathtaking performance is one sure to etch an indelible memory. One moment in time.
For every game
The 1988 edition of the Oklahoma State Cowboys was a truly remarkable one, featuring an offense that simply ran roughshod over its opposition. It was a team laden with star performers, but in 1988, none shone more brightly than the consensus All-America junior tailback from Wichita. By overwhelming mandate, the most decorated collegiate player in the country. They call Barry Sanders the Kansas Comet, as anyone who has had the unfortunate task of trying to catch this 5'8", 197-pound dynamo can tell you, his is an appropriate nickname. A dream season, a once-in-a-lifetime achievement. There's simply no other description for Barry Sanders' 1988 campaign, one in which he shattered records many thought untouchable. Sanders' storybook season saw him establish 24 new NCAA standards. Among the most noteworthy, 2,628 yards rushing, surpassing the single-season record held by Marcus Allen of USC. 234 points and 39 touchdowns, obliterating the mark shared by Penn State's Lydell Mitchell and Mike Rozier of Nebraska. 3,249 all-purpose yards, easily erasing one of the oldest NCAA records, that formerly held by Supreme Court Justice Byron Whizzer White, an All-American at Colorado in the late 1930s. And those were just the headliners of a remarkable bevy of records gathered by Barry Sanders in 1988.
Gundy on the option play. Pitches back to Sanders. Sweeping right. 20, 15, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Cowboys!
There's the NCAA record touchdown. He is now the all-time
Receipt of the Heisman Trophy speaks eloquently for Barry Sanders' accomplishments in 1988. But the award recognizes the achievements of just one season. Barry Sanders' performance in 1988 was one for all time. The saga of Barry Sanders is merely the latest in a chain of success stories that have become commonplace at Oklahoma State University in the 1980s. Indeed, while occasional success characterized the first 76 years of Cowboy football, sustained success has become the watchword of this decade. And the 5-year tenure of head coach Pat Jones has seen an unprecedented era of excellence.
We have taken this program really into the upper echelon of the ranks collegiately. And I think that again, guys that come in here, young people that come into this program, have got a good work ethic, have got good personal habits, have got good character. I think that allows them to be not only good football players, but also good students and good citizens and just down-to-earth good people.
Pat Jones has guided OSU to 44 wins and 4 bowl appearances in 5 seasons at the helm, becoming the winningest coach in Cowboy history over that span. In fact, the Pat Jones era might well be called the golden age of Cowboy football. Jones's consistent approach has made him 7th among active coaches in winning percentage and has put the Cowboys in the top 20 on a regular basis. The result is enthusiastic support from all corners, from the university's top executives to those who carry on the tradition.
Well, I'm a believer in competition, whether it's in economics, whether it's in athletics, whether it's in academics. I think competition is important, and we want to recruit the kind and the caliber of student, faculty members, staff that will be competitive. Pat Jones is one of the most successful football coaches in this country. He has developed a program that's built on quality of students. He is a person who really believes in the young athletes. He believes in developing them in academics as well as in athletics, and a person who takes a lot of interest in his players.
The last few years for me here at Oklahoma State have really been a great opportunity. I've had a chance to play in a program that's consistently ranked in the top 20 in the country, and a chance to go to school at one of the finest academic institutions, not only in the Big 8, but in the country.
I wouldn't change anything. It's been a great experience. I've met a lot of people. I'm going to have a degree that'll help me 20 years down the line, and I've also had a great athletic experience.
To illustrate the current lofty status of the Oklahoma State football program under Pat Jones, consider the following. The Cowboys completed the 1988 season with a 10-2 record, the third 10-victory season in the 5-year tenure of Pat Jones. The Cowboys have also posted a 23-4 record in their last 27 games, an accomplishment exceeded by few other teams in the country. The principal weapon in the tremendous success enjoyed by the '88 Cowboys was a devastating offensive attack. Enthusiastic crowds flocked to Lewis Field to support the nation's finest offensive team. The Cowboys led the country in scoring, averaging nearly 49 points a game, and in the process rewrote the OSU record book almost every week. The Cowboys set school records for points, touchdowns, and total yardage in a season, and established another new standard with a whopping 717 yards of total offense in one game. The turnover was also a vital part of the OSU success story. The Cowboys finished third nationally in turnover margin. and they must have been the country's most efficient team in converting those turnovers into points. More than 80% of those opportunities resulted in scores. Part of the credit for OSU's phenomenal production on offense must go to some unsung heroes. All Big 8 place-kicking specialist Kerry Blanchard finished in the top 10 nationally in scoring and set an NCAA regular season record with 67 consecutive extra-point conversions. It is the role of offensive linemen to labor in obscurity, but the consistent veteran members of this unit gained a measure of notoriety in becoming known as the War Pigs. Mike Wolf, John Bovair, Jason Kidder, and all Big 8 performers Byron Woodard and Chris Stanley teamed up with fullback Garrett Limbrick to bulldoze away the opposition, creating opportunities for the country's best collegiate football player. As Barry Sanders wreaked havoc among opposing defenses, he became the anchor of the finest trio of skill position players in the nation. Consensus All-America Hartley Dykes concluded his Cowboy career as the most productive receiver in Big 8 history. Garnering All-America honors for the second consecutive year, his career totals read 224 receptions, good for 3,500 yards and 31 touchdowns. He caught at least 2 passes in 35 straight games, completely rewriting all Oklahoma State receiving records. Obviously, Hartley Dykes must share some of his success with the man aiming the football in his direction. All Big 8 quarterback Mike Gundy has established himself as the finest passer and signal caller in Oklahoma State history. The Midwest City senior-to-be has the credentials to back up such a claim. The nation's second leading passer in 1988, Gundy threw for 2,163 yards and 19 touchdowns, completing 65% of his attempts. He holds almost every OSU passing mark and has eclipsed former great Bob Fenimore's school record for total offense in a career. Destined to be the most prolific passer in Big 8 history, Gundy's most impressive quality is his record as a winner. OSU's spectacular success in the last 2.5 years parallels Gundy's tenure as the starting quarterback. It took very little time for Barry Sanders to set the tone for what was to become the most exciting, record-breaking season in Oklahoma State history.
Let's do it. Here's Conrad. Chuck Conrad with a kickoff. Boy, he has a strong leg, end over end. Sanders takes it 1 yard deep in the end zone. Up the middle, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. He's at the 40. He's at 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 50, 10, 5. Touchdown, Cowboys.
Unbelievable deja vu. Just like last year, a same start.
Sanders would tally 2 more touchdowns as the Cowboys amassed 548 yards total offense. Hartley Dykes caught 8 passes for 175 yards. And Mike Gundy became OSU's career passing leader, completing 14 of 19 for 246 yards. Next to roar into Stillwater, 3-time defending Southwest Conference champion Texas A&M. It was billed as the Cowboys' biggest non-conference home game in more than a decade. And Oklahoma State was primed for battle. Even before many in the sellout crowd of 51,000 had settled in their seats, the Cowboys took command. On the game's third play, Sanders dashed 58 yards to score the first of his 3 touchdowns. On the ensuing kickoff, Cowboys special teams gave Gundy and company the ball at the Aggie 22. It took just 2 plays for Mitch Nash to make it 14-0. Brandon Colbert's recovery on A&M's 4th play of the game set up Kerry Blanchard's 39-yard field goal. In a little more than 5 minutes, OSU had exploded for 17 points. The rout was on. Gundy and Dykes share the spotlight with Sanders once again. Gundy set a school record for touchdown passes in a career with a 33-yard bomb to Dykes, who had 5 receptions good for 122 yards. The Cowboys would go on to thrash the Aggies 52-15, making the debut of the all-orange uniforms a smashing success. The point total was the highest scored against the Aggies since 1982 and marked the 2nd straight game in which OSU had reached the 52-point plateau. The total dismantling of Texas A&M sent a message to the college football world that the Cowboys would once again be a force to be reckoned with in 1988. 2 weeks later, the Cowboys journeyed to Boulder, Colorado to open the Big 8 conference season. An opportunistic Cowboy defense forced 6 turnovers, leading to a 34-point explosion in the 2nd and 3rd quarters. Sanders' touchdown total reached impressive proportions as he tallied 4 more times. Gundy threw for over 200 yards, triggering a Cowboy offense that registered 440 total yards. In one of the most convincing conference road victories in OSU history, the Cowboys ripped the nationally ranked Buffaloes 41-21. Bedlam Battle 88, a clash of 2 of the nation's superpowers. 12th-ranked OSU meets 8th-ranked Oklahoma. The 83rd renewal of this rivalry is witnessed by a national television audience on ESPN and a standing-room-only crowd of over 50,000 at Lewis Field. Both teams enter the contest with 6-1 records, and both are taking dead aim on the Big 8 championship. From the opening gun, it was an offensive shootout. OSU's Big 3 were responsible for nearly 500 yards. Sanders shredded the vaunted Sooner defense for 215 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Gundy scored a touchdown and passed for 228 yards, while Dykes caught 9 passes for 123 yards and a score. The Cowboys staged a dramatic second-half comeback that was anchored by a fanatical defensive effort. Sanders continued to close in on the Heisman Trophy with his stunning performance against one of the top defensive units in the country. Once again, opposing players and coaches hailed Sanders as college football's finest running back. This game was one of the most emotionally charged in the history of this storied series, leaving everyone, fans and viewers alike, drained and exhausted. A once-in-a-lifetime experience awaited Cowboy players and coaches as OSU closed out the regular season against Texas Tech in the Coca-Cola Bowl in Tokyo, Japan. 56,000 packed the Tokyo Dome, lured by the opportunity to see Barry Sanders, who just hours before had been named the 1988 Heisman Trophy winner. Sanders disappointed no one, gaining an astounding 332 yards and scoring 4 touchdowns. His total was a new OSU single-game rushing mark and was the 4th 300-yard-plus effort for Sanders in 1988. The 4 touchdowns brought his NCAA single-season record to 39, 37 of them on the ground. All told, OSU piled up 610 yards total offense on their way to a thrilling 45-42 victory. The stage was set for the Cowboys' third 10-win season in the last 5 years. Next stop, beautiful San Diego, and a SeaWorld Holiday Bowl matchup with 15th-ranked Wyoming. The 11th annual SeaWorld Holiday Bowl matched Cowboys versus Cowboys and was billed as a high-stakes battle between 2 of the top 3 offenses in college football. Oklahoma State more than held up its part of the billing, as Cowboy firepower proved simply overwhelming. Once again, the focal point is Barry Sanders. He closed out a dream season, rushing for 222 yards and 5 touchdowns in just 3 quarters of work. Naturally, he was named the game's offensive MVP. Operating behind the War Pigs for the final time, Mike Gundy was nearly flawless, completing 20 of 24 passes for 315 yards and a touchdown. Half of Gundy's completions went to Hartley Dykes, who closed out a brilliant career with 10 catches, 163 yards, and a touchdown. The Cowboys continued their history of postseason surprises as Sanders demonstrated his ability to throw the football. As if the Cowboys didn't have enough weapons, Kerry Blanchard added a pair of field goals and extended his school record for consecutive extra points to 81. Scoring 4 times in the third period, the Cowboys exploded for 45 second-half points and 698 total yards, on the way to a 62-14 shelling of 11-1 Wyoming. Much of the credit for this triumph must go to a fine defensive effort. Saving its best for last, this unit smothered Wyoming's high-octane offense. Utilizing a variety of blitzes, the Cowboys recorded a season-high 7 sacks, limited record-setting Wyoming quarterback Randy Welniak to just 164 yards passing, and completely shut down the Wyoming running game. Oklahoma State broke a dozen Holiday Bowl records in handing Wyoming the worst postseason defeat ever suffered by a Western Athletic Conference team. This most impressive victory, OSU's third bowl win in 4 tries under Jones, was a fitting finale for the highly successful careers of the Cowboy seniors. At the same time, it provided a showcase for a bevy of young standouts who promise a bright future for OSU. With Gerald Hudson and Vernon Brown returning along with Sanders, the Cowboys will have 3 of the most talented backs in the country in 1989. Other impressive offensive operatives include Lee Keith, Cecil Wilson, and Chris Smith. 9 starters return on defense, including such standouts as Stacy Satterwhite, Reuben Oliver, Jay Fleshman, Mike Clark, Devin Jones, Brandon Colbert, and Holiday Bowl defensive MVP Sim Drain III. The performance of these up-and-coming stars provides exciting momentum for 1989. A superbly executed runaway victory in the SeaWorld Holiday Bowl. A thrilling climax to the most memorable season in Oklahoma State football history.
We've got a very, very proud organization, a proud staff, a proud squad. And I'd just like to say this again. that everybody associated with this university and this football program will keep on going on to bigger and better things.